All right, we're about to dive into a story that's thousands of years old, but honestly, it feels like it could have been written yesterday. It's all about a profound crisis of conscience, a warrior's impossible choice that unpacks some timeless truths about our purpose, our duty, and the very nature of who we are. So let's start with a question that gets right to the heart of it, a really tough one. What would you do if the one thing you were supposed to do, your ultimate responsibility, felt completely and totally wrong? Like a sin, especially if it meant hurting the people you love most. Well, that's the exact gut-wrenching spot our hero, the legendary warrior Arjuna, finds himself in. He's on the battlefield, ready for a war he knows is just. But when he looks across to the other side, he doesn't just see an enemy. He sees his cousins, his teachers, his own grandfather. And this is where it all comes to a head. We're at Arjuna's breaking point. He's facing this impossible choice, and it just paralyzes him. He literally drops his weapons and says, "I can't do this. I'm not fighting." You can just feel the agony in this question he asks his guide and charioteer, Krishna. How can I aim arrows at those I worship? He's talking about his own mentors, the people who taught him everything he knows. The thought of it is just tearing him apart. Now, you'd think Krishna might offer some simple comfort. But he doesn't, not at all. Instead, he completely reframes the entire situation. He reveals this fundamental, game-changing secret about what the soul really is. Krishna starts with a real zinger. He tells Arjuna, "You speak like a wise man, yet you grieve for that which is not worth grieving." Whoa, what could he possibly mean? In a situation like this, what isn't worth grieving? This brings us to the core concept, the Atman, or the soul. Krishna explains that our true self, that spark of life inside every single being, is eternal. It was never born, so it can never die. This one idea is the foundation for everything that follows. And what's so cool is that this isn't just some vague, abstract idea. Krishna gets super specific. The soul has qualities. You can't cut it, you can't burn it, water can't make it wet, and wind can't dry it out. It is completely, totally beyond any kind of physical harm. To really make this click, Krishna uses a really simple but incredibly powerful metaphor to explain how the soul and the body relate. It all comes down to changing clothes. Think about it. Your physical body is just like a set of clothes, and the soul, that's you, the person wearing them. When your favorite shirt gets old and torn, you don't have a meltdown, right? You discard it and put on a new one. The body is temporary, but the person, the soul, just keeps on going. And this lays out the soul's journey perfectly. It's a natural cycle. The soul gets a body, lives through childhood, youth, old age, and when that body starts to decay, the soul simply lets it go at death and moves into a new one. In this view, death isn't a final end, it's just a transition. Okay, so if the soul is eternal, what in the world does that mean for Arjuna's choice right here, right now? This is where Krishna connects that deep philosophy back to real-world action, and he does it through the concept of dharma, or sacred duty. Krishna is incredibly direct about this. He tells Arjuna, look, you are a warrior, that's your role. And for a warrior, there is no higher purpose, no greater calling than to fight in a righteous war. This is his specific job in the grand scheme of things. And then he just erases the fear of the outcome with this absolute power statement. He says, if you're killed fighting for what's right, you go to heaven. If you win, you get to enjoy the kingdom on earth. Either way, you can't lose. So logically, the only thing to do is stand up and fight. Because the alternative, that's far, far worse. To turn your back on your duty, your dharma, isn't just a failure, it's a sin. It leads to dishonor and shame, a fate that Krishna says is actually worse than death itself. For a warrior, your honor is everything. But how can anyone just switch off that kind of grief and attachment? I mean, it's one thing to know this stuff, but it's another to feel it. And that brings us to the final critical piece of wisdom. You have to master your own inner world. And we get another brilliant analogy for this, the chariot. Picture it. Your body is the chariot. Your senses, sight, sound, taste, are wild horses, always pulling you toward whatever they want. The passenger inside is the soul, the real you. But who's holding the reins? That's the mind, the charioteer. If the mind is weak, the horses run wild and crash the chariot. If it's strong, it guides the whole thing with purpose. And this reveals such a profound truth. Our biggest battle is never on some external field. It's right inside our own heads. It's the mind, when it's not disciplined, that creates ego and attachment. And that is the real source of all our pain. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway, the grand synthesis of this whole teaching. Perform your duty. Do the action. That's your right. You have a right to your work, but you have no right to the results of that work. Let go of the outcome and just focus on doing what you're meant to do. And this is where this ancient wisdom just reaches across the centuries and speaks directly to us, right? It's not really about literal battlefields. It's about the hard things we have to do, the responsibilities we face, the duties we might want to run from because of fear or attachment. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What is the righteous battle in your own life that you've been avoiding